Hi. Good evening, everyone.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Happy.
Happy
Hello. It's Thursday.
Happy
No, it's
Uh
Friday!
huh.
Friday. Sorry, I got
Friday!
confused.
Happy
Happy
Friday.
Friday. Friday. Yes. So the reason why I got confused is because Ben and Jim is usually on a Thursday, but because of what happened yesterday, it was moved to Friday, and it was moved to an
Right.
earlier time
Mm-hmm.
slot because maybe to accommodate better days, which happens at 8:30. So yes. Hi, guys. Thank you very much for being here. I know that we went
Hey!
through a lot in the past couple of days. I hope that
Mhm.
everyone is safe. I hope everyone is unharmed and
Ah,
fine.
yeah, I know.
And yeah, we also want to send our prayers to those who are affected by this typhoon.
Mm-hmm.
So, what else? Yeah, I think that there are movements and there are people who are providing relief and also rescue efforts. So let's just go ahead and support them. And later on, we're going to do something different as well, something in
Mhm.
addition, in line with that. So we're going to tell you more about that
Got it.
later. But
Yep.
tonight, we thought that it would be, I guess, we thought we wanted to do this because as you know, it is a bit of a distraction, something to, let's say, um, get our spirits up for a little bit. No.
Right,
Ayan,
right.
Justin
Yes,
May,
please.
tama.
Hi,
Friday the
Justin May.
13th.
Friday the 13th
Right.
daw.
So, yeah. So, pagpasensyahan mo kami kung medyo bangag.
Bangag. Lalo ako, because I had to clean a lot of mud. Had to go through the baha, the remnants of the baha in our
Yeah,
house. So
We
it was a very long day.
tell us about
it
that experience, Lance.
was.
Sa Antipolo kayo, Lance, di ba?
Yeah, we're
Yes.
close to the Marikina River, in Cainta. Every
Mm,
time they release any of the dams, so most likely you're going to
right.
be affected. And I think
Grabe,
we were
grabe.
watching. I think I was storm watching a day before, so I felt comfortable saying, "Oh, if this is a level," because I peeped out of the house Thursday
Right.
night. No, I mean
Mm.
Wednesday night. Then I saw the
Mhm.
water just coming in. So I go, "This is gonna be if
Oh,
it'll be ordinary. It's gonna be a storm. It's gonna just come by. It'll subside later on." But
right.
they had to do the dams, so God dams.
But that's it.
so
Uh,
so when that happens, it usually overflows, and when it does, so there's so much spillage, it comes into the house. And it's like if you've had Ondoy 2009, it's that same. It's a lesser degree of Ondoy, but the same
Right.
mud is still there. Whew.
Oh, okay. Mas worse ba to this year, Lance?
No,
Ulysses.
Ondoy was worse because if I step outside of my house,
Mhm, mhm.
I'd be sank underwater.
Oh, okay.
If I stand outside yesterday outside of the house, I would be just around waist high, I think.
Oh, grabe.
grabe, no?
Yep.
And I think it's because that area is really prone to flooding, di ba? Tsaka medyo
Correct.
mataas yung yung nagiging, yun, tawag doon, yung
Yeah, so
congregation ng tubig.
we're around the Laguna Bay, the Laguna Lake, the lake.
Right.
So every time
Alright.
they would release a dam, it would be a recall to all of us here.
Okay.
Grabe. So, nag-snowball rin, di ba? Siyempre, it's a ripple
Mm,
effect. So, it affects
yes.
everything around it. So, praying for everyone who has been affected and severely impacted by this typhoon. And
Mhm.
hopefully, things get back to, well, infrastructure gets fixed, roads get clean, houses get clean as
Yeah.
well. And hopefully, there's not a lot of damage um,
Right.
for everyone. Yun. Hey, okay.
Moving on.
So let's talk about something a little bit lighter.
Yes,
So you guys have seen the
please.
episode. You guys have seen the episode, right?
Hence, I'm
Okay,
wearing one of
so
his colors.
yes, tell us about that. Tell us about that, Lance. Tell us about the colors.
Go.
If you notice that Ben X Gym has color blocking for each character. So we've got purple for Yana, we've got yellow for Flo, we've got blue
Hmm.
for
Oo nga,
Ben,
'no?
green for Jim, red
Right.
is for Olan.
Hold
Who else am I missing?
That's
Cool.
it.
I like
And they're always wearing
that.
the same colors in different shades.
Every
If you
time.
notice that, yeah, as
Mm.
only I think there was only one skip. It happened on this episode wherein
Right.
Olan was wearing Ben's shirt. So the color swap began.
But it
That's
means
right.
something, probably. Diba?
Let's
Well, it could
see. I
probably
don't know.
mean
I,
that in that he may be favoring or he might be looking at Olan in a different way,
Mm,
because he did the same with Jim, right? He also let
right.
Jim do
Mm-hmm.
this. No, or no, what is the other way around? Oh my god, I forgot. But in any case, the shirt, yeah. Anyways, there was a situation he needed to borrow a shirt, and the shirt was given. So
Mhm, mhm.
yun. But yeah, definitely we have the blues and the greens, and it's a recurring theme in all of the episodes that we've seen. Even the lighting, diba? When they're sitting on
Right, right.
the terrace or their space, diba? Parang
Mhm.
even the lighting is bluish for
Mm,
Ben and then greenish for Jim.
right.
So yun. Ayan.
Kinilig, oh.
um,
Jude, I can relate. Don't worry. You're not
yes, we are
alone.
gonna talk about those. There was a very surprising twist there at the end. So we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But first off, what was the thing that you liked about this episode, guys? Anything that stood
Ako
out for
ako
you?
ako mauna talaga. Gusto ko talagang
Yeah, go
mag-explain kasi
ahead.
you guys can
Go.
specifically like talk about the details eh. Ako
Mm,
siguro using our criteria, yung WAP criteria natin, no? Like writing, acting,
Ooh,
production.
yeah.
Siguro
yeah.
what really stood out for me was the acting. Not so much the writing eh. Kasi parang I've somehow seen it, I've somehow heard it before, like the story and even the dialogue eh. But the acting really, I'm gonna give it to Kat Galang, undoubtedly. Seriously. Alam mo yun, di
Yes.
ba parang we've seen it, di ba
Mm-hmm.
super natural lang talaga. She's really a natural actress eh. We've seen it on Game Boys, the FaceTime, how do you call that, Mikey? Yung, the
Screen time.
The
genre, the
the virtual
screen
screen
time
time.
rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, the screen time genre eh. But we've seen that on Game Boys. Although I must admit to Game Boys because there were like awkward moments for some of the actors there.
Mm-hmm.
Siguro they were kind of like because it's difficult. Eh? You're only talking to a camera, and then you
Mhm.
hear somebody from Zoom like throwing these lines, right? So at times you have to like get in sync with the dialogue and what's on screen. Di ba parang hirap nun? Here kasi I noticed that with Kat Galang, it's
Yeah.
easy because you have the camera in front and you have Zoom on the side. But it seems like for Kat Galang, it's natural. Eh. The transitions were really smooth for me. And I
Mm,
think it's her skill as an actor. And to me, I really believe that it's an actual Zoom chat or meeting. And it's because of her, how she
Yeah.
delivers the lines. Diba? Parang natural na
yeah.
natural talaga, no? Yung mga
Mhm.
banters niya, yung mga hirit niya here and there, ganyan. It's just so natural. And I so believe her. And from episode 1, 2, parang I've believed in her and I saw this actor in her. So ako talaga gonna give it to Kat Galang. I super like the acting of Jerome Ponce and TJ Marquez. You can feel the
Mhm.
tension nung
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
nagiinuman na sila at lahat, 'di ba? And I really appreciated that because naka-zoom in sa mga mukha nila eh, 'di ba? You can really sense that there is this tension, there's this
Yep.
parang kumbaga uncertainty in what they're really feeling. I mean Jerome Ponce as the character Jim really feels this feeling for Ben at the end of the day. And Ben is kind of like anxious, di ba, during the time, makikita mo talaga sa mukha niya. So I think that's really effective. And I really believe in the character. You know? So acting is really
Mhm.
something that I really have to give uh, to the series and to the episode. Aside from that, I super like the side characters of what's the name of the girlfriend?
Yana.
Yana.
Si Yana and Olan because
Olan. Mm.
while Jim, Ben and Flo knew already what was going on, okay? Nasa kanilang tatlo lang talaga yung nangyayari, no? Parang Yana and Olan are so in oblivion, sobrang oblivious talaga nila. You can sense it. So with that in
Yes.
mind, I'm gonna give it to writing also because bihira lang yan. I mean, sa writing kasi it's not just a dialogue, it's not just the story, but it's how you actually execute or implement it. Eh. And I could see that on screen while they were doing the drinking there. Na these two characters, Yana and Olan, were so oblivious. You can sense the oblivion there. At the same time, you can also sense, or you could also sense Jim, Ben, and Flo knowing what's going on between the two, diba?
Mhm.
So ang galing,
Yeah.
no? So I'm gonna give it to writing because of that. But mainly, it's acting that really made me believe that writing is good. So acting
Yeah.
and writing were the two things that really stood out for me for this particular episode. Yes. Yun lang.
Yeah, I agree with Kat Gala. It's
I
the
agree with
line.
Kat Gala.
I mean, she delivers her lines so naturally, I think, and her comedic timing is really on point.
Right. Mhm.
And I think that she didn't she didn't miss or skip any beat
Yep.
whatsoever. Like she was so effective as a sidekick and as a comedian. And this is the thing, diba? Parang you can be funny without being slapstick or
Right.
without you know, never mind. I wasn't happy that, but without falling into that sort of like caricature-ish stereotype, but parang, I mean, yes, we've seen that type of character before. It's the usual best friend. It's the usual, mahirit, alam mo yun, parang sidekick or whatever. But she
Right.
does it so well, and she does it very endearingly, di ba? Gusto ko yung mga hirit niya, like, parang, ay, and parang there was a truth and a lie, and then Jim, when Jim was saying his, and then he was talking about who's your and Yana asked him who's your first love, and then Kat was like,
Mhm,
ah,
mhm, mhm.
Yana, yung mga follow-up questions.
Ang galing niya doon. Galing niya doon.
Yes, I love that. I love that for her.
She dropped a lot of one-liners that were really, really funny. And
Right.
even though the situation was very serious or whatnot, but
Mhm.
her delivery, parang it didn't mar or it didn't detract from the experience of the scene. Alam mo yun?
Yeah,
Yung parang
yeah,
it
yeah.
went from serious, funny, serious, funny, serious, funny, and it was actually very, very seamless for me.
Yeah.
So alam mo yun, in
Yes.
terms of the writing, I agree. That was very, very very well written, I would say.
Uh-huh.
So if
Mhm,
there were
mhm,
two scenes that I would actually want to go back to later on, it would be
mhm.
the drinking or party scene, and the second one would be the revelation scene. Because again, my screen was a bit grainy. Maybe it's because it's a premiere. A lot of people are
Right.
watching. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
later on, I want to see it in HD because I want to see the facial
Yeah.
expressions. Because you
Right.
could feel
Right.
the emotion, you could hear the emotion in TJ and Jerome's voice. I mean, even
Mhm.
when he was, through that fit in the toilet, whatever, you could hear
Right.
it there. But I want to see their facial expressions. I want to see it more. So I'm gonna go back to that in a little bit. Okay, Lance, how about you? What can you say?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I still love how they pay homage to the previous BLs that came by. And if I'm
Mhm.
not sure if those two scenes that I've seen were intentional or were homages. The first one was the two truths and one lie. It is the first game ever played in between the group
Ah,
themselves. And they
okay.
did it in the same way with in between in a way that because in that scene Tao and Otep were confessing their love or subtly doing that. And they did that
Mhm.
here in the same scene for Ben and Jim.
Right.
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 And the second homage, if I'm not mistaken, would be the last part wherein Ben would lean towards or hug Jim in the same
Mhm.
way Judah would did it for Rocky.
Quarantine things.
Mhm.
Okay.
Current things. And it felt the same way. I think it evoked the same lines wherein parang they had the same concept na akin ka na lang. Parang
Mhm.
don't talk, don't do this, don't do that. It had the same flow in a way. So it felt like it was current things and in between. So it was fun. It's fun
Right.
seeing
Right.
those two. And I also like that we saw another shade or color for Yana. She's not this toxic girlfriend as we imagined her to be. So
Okay.
she was more supportive, but she was over supportive in a way that she was crossing borders, saying, feeling niya ng kaibigan siya. Na
Mhm.
she was giving out her validation. Na, yes, 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 but it's supposed to come from Kat
Yeah.
Gala. But it was
Yeah.
fun. It was a fun scene because we have those kinds of people too. Na you just
Mhm.
met and you're feeling close with that person.
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
Yeah, and it kind of
Or,
felt like we were
mm,
sort of like the sixth wheel because we
yeah.
knew everything that was happening, right? We
True.
knew
True.
that there was something between Jim and Ben, and there's something between Olan and Ben, and there's something between and Flo knows about what's happening about everybody, and Yana is this clueless girl. She's an outsider, but then oh my god, we know where she's coming from as well. And I think she was also kind of being an ally by sort of like being overzealous about the relationship.
Mm,
Maybe she's, but you know, I
Yeah.
mean, maybe she's okay with it altogether, right? I don't
Yeah, I
want to
think
read too
so.
much into that as well, but well, we can honestly say that she's okay with that kind of relationship, diba? Between two
right.
boys or two men. So at least there's that. I mean, for her, it's normal, so it's not something to be icky about, right? I mean, she took it very normally, so I appreciate that about her. And you're right, diba? Parang initially we thought this that she was this sort of like mataray, hot-headed girl, but then she can also be
Yeah.
very, very gentle. She can be very, very nice, and she can also be very, very supportive. I mean, she
Yeah.
didn't even bat an eyelash when when
Mhm.
Flo's who said couple shirt, and she was like,
Yes, I
"Well,
know.
it's more like
Bestie.
bestie shirts, you know." But nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, boys do that, I guess, but
Yeah.
for her, it was like, "Oh, it's okay," you know. And she didn't really mind at all. So I love her character for that, right? And hoping, just like you mentioned, that hoping she doesn't turn into a toxic character. Although if she does, I guess it would be something to, to make the story interesting or to put conflict in it. But we will
Mhm.
see. I mean, it
How
all
many
depends on her.
episodes do we have left anyway?
Three, because
Asan
Three.
pa?
I believe there are 8 episodes, and this is the fifth
Ah,
episode.
okay. Okay.
Diba?
Okay, so we have,
More
yeah, okay.
episodes.
I'm getting
Yeah.
the flow now of each of the hashtags that we put before. Because remember, we put
So
Team Hubby, Team Stars, Team Boardwalk, and Team Mine. So we're done with
Yeah.
Team Hubby, we're done with Team Stars, now we've done with Team Boardwalk. The last one left is Team Mine.
Nine.
yes, that's why Leo is coming in the next episode. Oh my
Yes. And
god.
its color blocking is black.
It's black, which is dark, right?
Yeah.
So, and yeah, since you mentioned that already, I also want to address the preview. The preview seems to be something that will cause a lot of tension or to cause a lot of conflict, right? Because you mentioned that Ben or Jim was like, don't talk to him anymore, don't be friends with him, don't contact him, etc. But then Leo shows up, and just like like he does it unexpectedly and without warning. So that's something that I think Ellen also mentioned that she doesn't know where the story is gonna go now. Is it gonna go
Yeah.
like psycho dark on
Mm,
us or what? Because that preview was a bit um, intimidating, or
right.
so parang I don't know where that's gonna go.
Yeah.
But
And yeah. And there's a lot of confusion. I mean, I think the biggest in the chat would be it's all confusionism now,
mhm,
especially with the end. Because,
mhm,
I
Right.
mean, for me as a storyteller, there was no bridge between him
Mhm.
going to that direction, or there were no
Mhm.
mhm,
drops going to that direction. And
right.
I don't know how he'll do it, especially that he has a girlfriend to think of too. Three
Yeah.
will be free. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I don't think Yana is the kind of person who does that. Hmm. But yeah, I agree. I mean, there were some sort of like clues that he was sort of a little bit jealous, but I was thinking of it more in terms of like best friend jealousy, right?
Mhm.
But to actually drop that bomb on us, but it felt like the progression was not um, as gradual as I thought it would
Mhm.
be. Parang
Right.
biglang drop, like you said, no.
Right.
Um, Although thinking about it as well, I mean, maybe the clues that we've seen are clues that he is, because he admitted that he was in love with Jim. I mean, with Ben, right? So maybe the clues that we've seen aren't really friendship, jealousy kind of clues, but really love, jealousy kind of clues.
Yeah.
Uh, so, but yeah, I felt that it could have gone a little bit slower,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe if
I was
Olin and
hoping.
Jim were really becoming more intimate, right? Because at that point, it was just the holding of the hand. And actually,
That's it.
Jim, I mean, Ben looked a little uncomfortable too. It's not like they were
Yeah.
happily together, right? I
Mhm.
mean,
Mhm.
he seemed very awkward and sort of like looking at Jim. And but he seemed like he was not in that same space with Olin, right? Olin was professing his interest and he was professing his sort of like like for for Ben, but Ben wasn't responding at all. So I don't really see how that could have pushed him over the edge like that.
Mhm.
But then again, we don't know how what goes on in people's heads. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But yeah, I had hoped that it would be a little more gradual, and a lot of stuff had happened before that actual revelation. Just see, you're ready a long time ago for what? For the
Yeah,
revelation?
no, no, it was from a comment from Lian, I think, where he was saying, "Can I ask you guys with the BL series heating up? Are you ready to this kind of series wherein two boys fall in love?" And I think he's talking about it. If I read to the context, he was talking about if we're ready for two boys falling in love in today's society.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
I've been ready.
we are definitely ready
Yeah.
for it. Well, in terms of maybe the general population, I'm not too sure about that. I'm not
Mhm.
Yeah.
confident that it is. Society, maybe overall, is not yet 100% ready. But hopefully, with all the stories that we've been seeing and with all of the BLs that have been coming out, hopefully it normalizes things, because they are seeing these kinds of stories, and these stories are being treated
Mhm.
well and being treated in a way that upholds the human dignity. So hopefully that gets through to them, and it sends a message that hey, these stories are just like everyone else's stories. So hopefully
True, true.
you consider it as such. It just happens to be
Boy,
between two boys.
may, may gusto ko talagang i-point out, like you're talking about like references from other BLs, right? Ito naman, hindi naman
Mhm.
siya reference from a BL, but reference siya from Matteo Guidicelli. Yung pinunit niya yung PS4 box. Di ba
Ah,
naging viral
yes, yes,
yun?
yeah.
So, I think,
So
I think kaya
the
super
reference in
galing.
other vloggers.
Right. So super galing
Okay.
nung nagsulat nito because
Uh,
the emotions 'di ba? Naggalit well, people were reacting dun sa pagpunit ni Matteo Guidicelli nung box ng PS4 because you're not supposed to tear it, right? Parang you're
yeah,
supposed to preserve it as is, right? For those of you na may PS4
Mhm.
talaga. But I think it
Mhm.
established the emotions of Ben there. Eh. Sobrang nainis si Flo dun din. Na parang, uy,
tulala din
kunin
siya.
ko na yung box, di ba? What's the I think I like that because it made me feel a certain emotion na ano ba ang tanga-tanga mo, 'di ba? That's the whole point of the scene there eh. Kasi without that pagpunit ng box ng PS4, I mean, it's okay. But because of the PS4 box na pinunit na ganyan, I think nagkaroon ng dagdag emotion dun eh. At least from the viewer's perspective. I don't know. I just wanna point it out. Matteo Guidicelli.
I wasn't aware of that, but thank you. You
Yeah,
acknowledged it.
I recognize the reference to it. Just forgot to mention it a while ago.
Mhm. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. If you know of any other references in the chat, let us know. Maybe you saw something. Okay. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, if you saw other references, other BLs or popular media, then please go ahead and let us know. I don't know why that's
Yeah, I was
happening.
thinking about that too. The one commented by LM. So I'm not really sure how it'll flow for Olan if he'll disappear again or he would reappear after the
Hmm.
X. So let's see. Or it's gonna be one giant reunion on episode 8. I don't know. It could
Or you
happen
never
that way
know.
too.
Yana and Olan might get together. So Yana all.
Or
Yana
oh yeah
all.
na 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 na.
Gusto mo yan, gusto mo yan, gusto mo yan. Because let's admit it, that scene outside where they were talking to each other and they were
Yeah,
considering
that's
themselves as
cute.
outsiders, it was cute. But it
Yeah.
also was, I thought there was chemistry there. So
Mhm.
I don't know. And I mean, us talking about gender being fluid and people
Yeah.
seeing people in different lights depending on the circumstances and whatnot. They could have a change of heart or a change of mind. Look at a person from a different point of view. It could necessarily happen, and not it's not necessarily a bad thing, diba? Because I mean, if you are for each other, you are for each other, diba? So you just need sort of like that spark or that opportunity. Wait, well, I think Olan labeled himself as an outsider, but it's not necessarily him sort of like, alam mo yun, self-deprecating, because even
No.
when, for example, in the speech where he was declaring his intention to court, Ben, he said that he was not the same as everyone else, but he didn't say it in a self-deprecating way at all. He wasn't putting
Mhm.
himself down. In fact,
Right, right, right.
he was actually very confident in himself because he
Mhm.
said,
Mhm.
if kung meron akong may pagmamalaki, if there's one thing that I can be proud of, it's that I will fight for the person that I love. I will take care of you. Ano ba yun? Aalagaan kita, iingatan kita, at papasayahin kita.
Yeah.
So, alam mo yun, parang, I mean, he might have said that, but it's not necessarily in a bad way. So, and outsiders with an S. It's funny.
Yes.
Milk,
It's like
milk
Judith
tea.
without a T, without an H.
No,
Oh.
because because there was an exchange between Ben and Olan before, right? First it was packages with an S
Yeah.
or something, diba? And then milk teas with an S because there's two of them or something. So I mean,
So it's
so
his
they continued
trademark.
that, yeah,
Oh.
they continued that exchange between the two of them. So that's funny. That's funny,
Uy,
funny,
for
funny.
will be more daw, sabi ni Kwan, ni Jude. Parisukat daw sila.
Oh my God, four will be. Wag naman ganon.
Huwag
I don't
naman
think.
ganon.
Wag naman ganon. I mean, I understand that there may be relationships like that. I mean, there are even shows wherein a guy has what 8 wives or whatever. But I don't think it's not for me. I don't know. And it's not for Let's just stick to the two.
Yeah. I'm just scared na what's gonna happen to the other two side characters. Like what would happen to Olan and Yana since they're gonna be collateral damage, according to Gus. He said that a while ago too. So what's gonna be their stories? Or will they make them disappear after in the next week's episode?
Mhm.
I
I
don't know
hope
yet.
not. I hope not.
I
I
hope
hope that
not.
there's still a factor into the story. But I mean, I'm just curious on how they're going to be put in there, or how they're going to be intertwined with all the. Since now we're focusing on the relationship between Ben and Jim, right? So the conflict there is going to be Leo, definitely. So if they put Yana into the mix and Ola into the mix, I think it's going to be a little bit too much. But if they do
Mhm.
that and they're able to do it well, I have no complaints. I'm just here for the ride. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you want to
despite the confusion it seems, so let's go with the ride.
Right. Let's talk about that. That's actually what I wanted to ask you guys. And Jude also mentioned it that he was a little bit confused.
Conflicted, confused.
And Gus said as well, it's sad because I only felt Jim and Ben's chemistry in the last part. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what can you say about that? What can you say about that? Ikaw, Nico. Ikaw, Lance.
Lance muna.
Sige.
Teka lang. While my brain is still muddy and wet, ganun eh. From all the baka cleaning.
Sige.
The only
Siguro
thing that,
while you're...
yeah, I mean, the thing that popped into my mind was why I was confused initially. Maybe because I was hoping in the depths of my heart, and so that they'd become best friends instead at the end. Because it's gonna be a new plot. But we don't know yet. We don't know yet. We haven't reached the end yet, so we don't know what's going to happen yet. But it felt either like I think I'm agreeing with some of the people saying that it was too rushed in a way. It could have happened maybe another episode later on, or maybe 2 episodes later on when they introduced Leo. Parang it would have been greater if they swapped those episodes. Maybe I don't know. Pero I feel like introduce the three first, like Team Stars, Team Boardwalk, then Team Mine, then go to Team Hubby at the end if that's what they want to do. Maybe that's for me.
Mhm.
Well, ako naman, I have to agree with like yung nagko-comment na sa comment section natin. I do think that it was kind of rushed to me, like, especially kay Olan and then kay Ben, na parang talaga hawak ka na ng kamay. Kasi I really appreciated the setup, or the setting rather. I mean, normally nangyayari yun with our friends, right? Nagiinuman, tapos biglang you got intoxicated, and then you feel like you've gained so much confidence, disclosing your feelings to someone, right? Ganun naman usually nangyayari sa magbabarkada. I like the setting there. And I appreciated that there was like that parang confession na, hey, so on and so forth, I like it. But I was kind of looking for the premise in the previous episodes. I was kind of not really convinced that, alam mo yun, parang kulang pa, kumbaga. Na you've been saying that, a while ago.
Yeah.
Na I need more scenes. I need like a couple more scenes for me to establish it in my head that yes, may na-establish na feelings to si Olin with Ben, and Ben is sort of reciprocating it back in a way, alam mo yun. And then, yeah, I felt like everything was kind of, hindi lang kind of, it was really rushed to me. Parang meron parang gap for me that I need to be filled in at the end of the day. So, yeah, I have to agree with you guys. Yes.
Yeah. I think they tried to build that connection or that chemistry in several ways here in this episode. Like, for example, in the first part, the tulala scenario, like both of them were tulala, and then when they were speaking to other people, they were basically saying lines relating to the previous scene wherein the revelation happened, right? So, for example, in the first scene, parang, Hoy, wag mong sirain yan. Tapos, Flo said that to Ben. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ben said something like, alam ko naman yun eh. Kaya trinay kong bawiin, di ba? And I was like, huh? Ano ba yung nagsasabi mo? Sabi ni Flo. Right? And then si Jim naman, parang sinabi niya na, um, sorry, hindi ko naman sinasadyang masaktan ka. Parang, hala? Parang, the dress caught in the, parang it wasn't like he was hurt or something like that, di ba? And then next when Olin came along, and then he threw the ball. So that sort of like was a jealousy scene again. And then when they went to the other side, alam mo yan? Parang ano ba to? They went to the party, and then Jim kept texting, right? And then they came back, and then Yana verbalized that Jim was the one who wanted to come because he was bored. So apparently he wanted to be with Ben and all of that. So, but I think they were trying to set it up so that we would be sort of like ready for the revelation. Pero yun, parang I still was taken aback a little bit, right?
Mhm.
I mean, initially I was like, oh my God, but then sort of like when I started to sink in, I was like, that was kind of sudden, right? Because it was kind of sudden, right? I mean, I appreciated the acting, at least in terms of showing the emotion, the tenderness, the vulnerability. My God, Jerome Ponce.
Right.
Jerome.
Yes. Hi, Jerome.
It was all there, right?
Yeah.
But
I have a question though. Mamaya,
yes.
finish yours. Yeah, you remember what they said in Two Truths and One Lie? Which one was the lie? Which do you think was it? Especially for Ben's side and Jim's side.
Ano ba sinabi
Yeah.
niya ulit?
That's the thing.
Yung
They weren't answering. They were supposed to guess
lang yung lie.
which one was the lie, right? But nobody was guessing. They were just
It was a different format.
Right.
So
Nagsabi
that's
lang.
also something that I was wondering about. I was waiting for them to guess, and then nothing happened. Right.
And the revelation.
I think I remember Jim said that nandito yung mahal, yung pinakamamahal ko. Nandito siya ngayon. Second was mahal na mahal ko siya. And then third was my brief is sideways.
Yeah.
So obviously it's the last one that's a lie, right?
Yeah.
But
how about from Ben?
Ano
ba sinabi
he
niya?
mentioned na
Because he did it twice. The first one was all mundane. The second one would be, I think that's the real one, wherein he was saying like, I know one had to do with something being marupok.
Well, the first one was like, sana dumating yung pagkakataon na mahalin ako ng taong mahal ko. No, sana dumating yung pagkakataon na mahalin ako ng first love ko. Umaasa pa rin ako. Umaasa pa rin.
Hence the rebuttal between Kat Galang and yan.
Correct. Parang first love, sino yun? Mamaya na yung follow-up questions. Pangalawa, and I think this was something that was mentioned in a previous episode, masaktan man ako ng paulit-ulit, magtataya pa rin ako.
Para maghahanap ako ng true love pa rin. I'm still...
Correct.
Parang ganun.
Correct. Parang hindi ako susukong hanapin ng true love ko.
True love.
And then the third was yung he will prove himself in 6 months. So I don't know what the lie there is because
I know.
We have to take
I think that they're all true. But if you think about the second one, maghahanap pa rin akong true love ko. That could be a lie because his true love is Jim.
Pwede.
I mean, that can be the possible lie. That can be the possible lie because he said, masaktan man ako ng paulit-ulit, hahanapin ko pa rin ang true love ko.
Yeah.
Because why would he look for his true love when his true love is
right?
So that could be the lie. Yeah. But yun nga, but I wanted them to guess. you
Right.
know. Uh, and
Yeah, I was
Diana, she
hoping.
was.
Go ahead. I was just
What,
supposed to say that I was
I
hoping
was
that the guess and it would tie to the story. So maybe I don't know. Pero it would have been nice na when that scene would happen, they'd guess
yeah.
who what was the lie, and then that would transition to the bathroom part. I don't know. Maybe.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. But do you guys remember what Yana said? Because parang she said something, one, and then parang she didn't continue at all. So I wasn't able to catch any of that. Um, and Olan probably didn't say anything, and Flo didn't probably say anything.
Oo nga
So yun lang,
eh.
nag-stand out na
Yeah.
talaga sa akin yung kay Ben at saka yung kay Jim. So I apologize. If you guys remember, let us know in the chat. So we can go ahead and ano.
But I do have a question kasi diba like as I said a while ago, like Ben, Jim, and then Flo were like in this space wherein
Mhm.
they know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
While Yana and Olan were in oblivion. They're oblivious. They don't know what's going on.
The
So
Yeah.
outsiders.
kung wala the outsiders, so kung hindi nyo alam yung mga nangyayari, you could have answered kung anong lie dun sa sinabi nila. Gets? Parang kasi kung ako nandun, I would have said, "Oy, I think feeling ko yun yung line na sinabi mo."
Yeah.
Pero walang reaction from them eh. So I'm like,
Yeah.
talaga ba?
Right.
Parang it was kind of like concerted. If it felt not really scripted, but kind of like didn't feel quite the reality that they're supposed to depict, at least for in this episode. Eh. So yun lang yung thoughts ko. They could have
Yeah, because
reacted.
the reality is we would start guessing, diba? And
Yeah.
yeah. So, and another thing that I found confusing was, remember, Jim left and then he punched the wall, I guess. But that's
Mhm.
Yeah.
something may nag-sound, diba? And then he was sitting on the floor, and then lumapit sa kanya si Yana, and then I mean Jim was
Yeah.
like, "Bumalik ka na doon, I'm okay." But if you are a
Right.
girlfriend, if you really care about the person, you wouldn't leave them just like
Right.
that, right?
Right.
Parang you wouldn't take no for an answer because I want to know what's wrong. Talk to me. I'm your girlfriend. Parang let's figure it out. Or let's go home. I'm gonna take you home because obviously you're drunk a little too much or you're not yourself, etc. And then the next scene that we see is Yana walking out and then saying we had a fight. And for me, there was no fight. So I don't understand what happened there. Was there a missing scene
Mhm.
there somewhere?
Mhm.
Because it wasn't a
Maybe.
fight, you know?
We
or
don't know. It
or
may be
she
the
brought
intro scene
Jim
next
home
week with a
and then
flashback.
take
I
him
don't
off.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Mm.
it just seemed kulang for me because you declare
Yeah.
something but then it didn't sort of like figure into the things or in what we saw. I mean, if there was like a montage again or
Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm,
I don't know,
mm-mm.
like a
Mm-hmm.
scene or what, am I visible to you guys because nawawala ako,
No,
nagkakaroon ako ng
yeah, it's
black
just
tapos
Boko
that
Wi-Fi is
totally
real for
changed.
you.
A little bit,
Bo-
Mikey. Pero we can still
Boko
hear
Wi-Fi
you.
is real.
Oh my
Yeah, we
god.
could still hear you clearly.
Okay. Yeah. So
Wait, wait
yeah.
lang. I
Okay.
want to go back. I
Yeah.
want to go back. Sorry. Hello, Mikey. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, okay. So I'd like to go back to what Gus said, no? Saan na ba yun? 8:36 as we go
Yan.
back. Kasi baka hindi natin kasi baka ma-pushed na siya back eh. Pero I like this point though, and we could probably discuss this. He said that, and
Mm.
the first episodes didn't give me anything to make me root for Ben and Jim. It's sad that it's Celos that had to bring Jim's feelings back.
Yeah.
And he made mention also here na parang ano nga eh, parang I don't like the jealousy being
Mhm.
the reason for them getting back together, right? Or declaring your feelings, right? So what do you think
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping that they'll end up becoming friends. It's like it's
Mm,
gonna be Jim's, and I think quoting from GSP, that he
yeah.
might be a plot device for an identity crisis. So parang ganon. Parang it's gonna be if jealousy is usually
Mm,
that, medyo mababaw yung jealousy eh. So
right.
they don't usually last that long. I
Yeah, yeah,
think.
yeah.
Kasi
Mhm.
you're still guessing. I mean, you're still guessing for what you feel. It's just you just know that you're jealous over someone, but you're not really sure why you're jealous over that person. Truly, I mean,
Mm,
it's not that kind of deep love.
Mm.
So what
right.
happens if you're no longer jealous? So what's
Mhm.
gonna
Right.
connect you to now? Those are my initial thoughts when I was parang
Right.
trying to digest all of that. kasi it felt nga like, kasi the trigger was, there were two triggers for me. It was either jealousy, or he was envious of yung strength ni Olan, that he could reveal
Mm,
something like that he couldn't, because maybe of the political father, because of his
right.
background. And he wants to and now suddenly he decides to take a leap of faith. And
Right.
we see Ben's reaction going like, huh?
Right.
Is this
Right.
for
Right.
real?
Right. I'd like to
Right.
piggyback on what you said.
Piggyback.
um,
Yeah.
um, Probably it's his way to communicate his feelings, right? Kasi like sabi nga niya at the end, towards the end, na parang this is still new to me. I don't know, but I know that sinabi ba niya yun, parang I like you, I have feelings for you, but I
Mm,
don't know that something new to me. Baka lang it's his way to communicate it back to Ben eh. Baka he still couldn't figure out how to communicate it to Ben. Probably jealousy is just his manifestation at the end of the day, right? It's sad to really know and to find out that jealousy becomes like the trigger for you to declare your feelings, but probably it's his naive, sorry for the lack of term, naive way of communicating his feelings, probably. Kasi hindi niya alam eh, hindi niya
Mhm.
ma-figure out eh. So kaya
yeah.
siguro selos. Pero in reality, deep inside, baka it's a
Mhm.
different kind of feeling. It's a mix of emotions for all you know. And ang nagma-manifest lang sa kanya, it's yung jealousy lang talaga at the end of the day. But for all you know, inside him are a lot of emotions altogether. Diba?
Yeah, it could be with a color theme then, kasi jealous is usually green, diba? It's
Yeah,
either
okay.
disgust or green. Because I was thinking of that too.
Right.
Na they all have their color schemes, and they reminded me of when I saw them all together. It's funny how they remind me of Inside Out.
Yes.
Yes! Yes! Yes, yes,
And we
yes.
know Kat Galang is this joyous person in that scene,
Yes,
Joy.
that's why I like that.
and we had sadness in terms of Ben. Purple was
Right.
pain. Maybe Yana was experiencing that kind of pain because they fought. So she's having this internal struggle, maybe. And then we have red
Yeah.
for anger, or for,
Right.
but for Alan's sake, it was, I think,
For
love
passion.
or passion.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Mm. I
Definitely.
like
He's very
that.
interested.
And I think that's what
Diba?
they've tagged it with then with their colors. Because if you notice, that's their majority color mood then. Like Kat Galang is
Yes.
always is usually the happy person. Ben is
Right,
usually
right.
sad.
I,
Uh, Jim
so
is
cute.
usually jealous or green of envy.
Yes.
Olan is
Mhm.
full of passion. And Yana is
Uh-huh.
in panic mode. Or he's in the height, kumbaga. Or feeling royalty. Kasi purpose royalty too.
That's very true. But also, to add, to piggyback off of what he
Piggyback.
said
Piggyback.
about jealousy, I think what is good is that it wasn't the girl that was the object of jealousy or the cause the jealousy. It
Mm.
was
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
it was another guy
Okay.
because usually, but
Right.
we would have the love interest, the guy being jealous of the girlfriend because he
Mm.
can't be with the other guy because of the girlfriend, right? But this time, he's jealous because of another guy that is courting his man, right? So I think that in that sense, that's good. I'm for me, I don't really have a problem with the jealousy bit, but I believe, just like you guys said, that it shouldn't just be the basis of it. But if you are jealous of someone, it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't feel other things, just like Nico mentioned, right? And what I think is very important as well is that I think from the get go, he really does love Ben. It's just that because of his parents, because of his family, because of the pressures that society puts on him, and because of,
Mhm.
the societal structures that we have. I mean, it's just that he has to conform to this side of this type of person or persona, right? So that
Right.
prevents him
Right.
from actually being able to process and maybe
Mm-hmm.
being
Mm-hmm.
in tune with his feelings. But what I liked is what he said to Ben when he said,
Right.
Ben, mali yung sinabi ko sa'yo nung sinabi mo
Uh-huh.
mahal mo ako. Buti
Okay.
pa si Olan, matapang. So he's not necessarily jealous because of Olan being there, but he's
Mm-hmm.
jealous because he wasn't able to reciprocate or to
Yeah.
express
Mm.
to Ben
Okay.
the same way that
Right.
Olan is able to express himself to Ben, right?
Right.
So I think that's
Right.
where it's
Right.
coming from. And more, he said, buti pa si Olan, matapang, samantalang ako, hindi ko masabi sa'yo, mahal din kita. Not
Right.
just as a friend, pero mahal kita. And here's the thing. At kahit hindi ako sigurado, so the phrase, kahit hindi ako sigurado, it might be, hindi siya sigurado kung saan to hahantong, kung ano mangyayari sa akin, kung matatanggap tayo ng parents natin, etc. Sinabi niya na susugal ako. So I think that takes it beyond just jealousy. And, di ba? Parang that's really what what love is. Parang you take that leap against odds. You take that jump. Parang you jump in, you dive. So I think the jealousy is a part of it. And even though it may have been part of him revealing his feelings for Ben, I think that there is more to that. So yun doon ako nanggagaling. So
Okay.
yeah.
That
How do
makes
you guys
sense.
get that?
Yeah. Ayoko na mag-piggyback dun. Parang you made sense. I mean, like,
Yeah, it made sense.
Piggyback.
Yeah. Piggyback.
Pero yeah, the only thing I would say, like, I would agree
wait.
on Jude in a way, because siguro on Jude linking it with Maring Reka, what she was saying, I think we just needed to see that struggle in Jim to resolve what was missing, to resolve the confusionism, maybe. Because we didn't have that struggle. Yeah, I mean,
is it the one?
yeah, we didn't have that internal struggle where he was battling in his head. Pero you go back to what we were saying before, na maybe we're watching it only through Ben's lens. So we don't see that struggle that's happening inside his head. Because we only see based on what he hears, which you only see the door smashing into that. Maybe that. But not exactly going deep inside the character's psyche.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And also,
Nakaisip lang ako.
It's also very important. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, we can.
Exisayans na naman tayo dito. Okay.
Yeah.
I was hearing this loud, incessant noise, so I had to unplug it. And now, I'm not sure if you can hear. But anyways, so another thing is, so he admitted, diba, susugal ako. And then niyakap siya ni Ben. And then Jim continues to say, bago ng lahat sa akin to, wag mo akong sasaktan. Diba? So he's also afraid. He's also afraid na, correct, he said na, huwag ka nang titingin sa iba, akin ka lang. So, I mean, there are so many things that are running through his head. Now, that possessiveness, I might not necessarily, I mean, it's romantic in a way, but it can also go very, very south if it's taken to a sort of like obsessive extent. Alam mo yan? So, but that's how heteronormative people think, especially if they grow up that way, di ba? Parang, huwag kang titingin sa iba. Kabababain mo, tumitingin ka sa lalaking yun. Yung mga ganun. So, alam mo yun, parang, there are so many things that are happening in his head. He is trying to place this heteronormative aspect or idea of love to a sexual relationship. So that's why ang dami-daming sa utak niya. So that's why wag mo akong sasaktan, because he feels na he's in the losing end in this relationship, because Ben has been through so much. I mean, he's had other relationships with men, but this is going to be his first time. So alam mo yun. So the fact that fact may have been the thing that held him back the first time that they had that intimate conversation, because he was afraid perhaps that if he admitted to it, that there was no turning back, that he would have all of these things to contend with. And that's probably why he reacted the way that he reacted the first time that somebody said or revealed their feelings. Alam mo yun?
Right.
So, I mean, guys, you've been through that as well, diba? I mean, remember, go back to the time when you wanted to admit to your crush that you liked them. What went through your head? The hesitation, the fear, the anxiety, and all of the emotions that went through your head. I mean, and you probably replayed that so many times as well, right? I should have said this, I should have said that, etc., and so forth. So that was going through his head when he was seeing Olan admitting, straightforward, confident, no holds barred. Mapakilala ko sa inyo. He went back to that time when he was, when he reacted that way, or when he wasn't able to say what he really wanted. So I think that's what broke him down, and that's why he had to go away, because he felt, I guess, like he failed himself in some way. right? Because he couldn't
Again,
reveal
maybe.
himself. He has, right? He couldn't admit. So that's why he had to go away. And probably that's when he had to hit something because, anger, frustration, desperation, it has to go somewhere. When you have all those pent up emotions in you, it has to go somewhere. And sometimes people do it or let go of that, all that pent up emotion through their fist or I don't know, punching a
Yeah.
wall or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, ang dami ko nasabi.
At marami pa silang loose ends na iniiwan, nakakainis sila. From the June 5,
Marami pa.
2015.
True.
Ay, marami pa. And Aling Elma only knows. And she was
Yeah,
not there,
yun nga eh.
unfortunately.
Right. Sabi nga ni Rafi Rillo, no, parang we really need the backstory of Jim to have the missing perspective. Baka ng Wi-Fi password ang sagot kung bakit niya mahal
Yes!
si spend all this time.
January
Right.
5. January 5,
Maybe that's the
2015.
that's
Let's
the
hold on
date
to that.
when he fell for
That would be the missing piece, babe.
Ben.
Right.
And that's the
Right.
Wi-Fi number.
True. Oh,
Maybe.
before I skip out this comment by Maring Rika. Hi, Maring Rika.
Hi.
Reka. It's Reka.
Bisaya.
Yes. So also, I didn't like how poorly Yana's character was written. Although we discussed this a while ago naman, no? Can she be more
Yeah.
naive when clues are flying in front of her? Yes, yung nga yung oblivious character eh, na parang,
Correct.
talaga ba girl, hindi mo nakikita?
Well,
Yeah.
siguro, hindi naman sa apologist ako, but I'm trying to
Yeah,
look at it from a different perspective as well. Probably, well, we can call it naivete, but we can also call it maybe that she is just very accepting of people. Anong tawag doon?
Accepting of people.
Na parang she takes
Yeah.
things at face value. Like she doesn't
Yes.
read too
Yeah.
much into things. Na parang whatever parang comes across her way or whatever comes to mind, that's it. So you can't call that as naivete, but I think it's more of yung parang ano lang siya, she's just very positive. I guess.
Maybe. Yeah. She's not a Scorpio. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah, she's definitely not a Scorpio, right? And she's not a Virgo too because she doesn't overthink things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just accepts things for what they appear to be. Like, oh, they're wearing best friend shirts. Oh, they're into each other. Oh, I mean, alam mo yun.
That's sila, ganon. Diba?
Yeah, Gulliver's Travels siya. Gullible.
Yes! Gullible kasi siya. Gusto ko yun.
Yeah. And there are people like that, yung parang, haven't you come across people na parang, oh my God, read the room, girl. Alam mo yun, parang clueless. And it's not because they're naive in any form of way, but it's more like they're just very they just focus on different things, because they they have their own lens, we have our own lenses, and the thing is, we know what's happening because we've seen all the other episodes, so we know where people are coming from and their different perspectives. But from her point of view, I mean, she just came in
And
like
Mikey's
last episode. So, but she doesn't know about what's going on. So, yeah.
I have a question. Kasi there's another theory by Gus. What if that would happen? What if they're basing it on star-crossed lovers, right? So most likely one of them's gonna get separated. One's might die.
Yes.
My God,
Yes.
my extraordinary.
Even that's also the question that we asked maybe the first couple of episodes. Because stars, constellations, we talk about star-crossed lovers, we talked about Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, tragedy, being all that. So it is very possible that it can happen. And parang may nagkakaroon na tayo ng parang maybe not a foreshadowing, but sort of like maybe somewhere along those lines. Because Leo was always very brooding tingnan, di ba? Parang laging masama yung mukha, laging nakaitim. Tapos, parang all that greasy hair. I don't know. It's like, di ba? Can you be any more Shakespearean? I don't know. So, I don't know. I'm hoping it doesn't go the way of tragedy, meaning someone dies or whatever. But if they end up as best friends, I'm totally okay with it because we have Team Stars. So, go Team Stars. And I know for a fact Gus is Team Stars as well. So, yeah.
But guys, what if this happens? Kasi like, diba, I think, who's the writer? Ulit? What's the name?
I forgot. I only know the director.
I think it's direct.
Pero may theme song na ako dyan. Suspended in Stars. Suspended in the Stars na sila.
Oh my God. I think is the writer
There you go. But I think
Yeah.
he or she said that it's going to be like a different BL eh. It's gonna blow our minds out, diba? Yung, tama ba yun yung sinabi niya sa interview eh? I think you did mention
I
that.
remember
Uh,
Lance.
diba? Parang yun yung sinabi. Pero I'm thinking, baka, what if it ends up that way? It ends up in tragedy. Will you be okay? Ben X Jim,
Uh,
diba?
Sa akin,
and
I'd be okay. I mean,
Yeah.
pero it depends on how they tell the episode before that.
Mm,
Because I was okay with how Mayo and Mayo was the flow of Mayo. Because for me, it made sense,
right,
especially
right.
with lots of drops and foreshadowing done there. So it made sense. But if they don't do any foreshadowing and they kill them
Right,
to the next episode, parang wait, what's going on?
right, right. Okay.
yeah. Um, remember we talked about this in another session wherein there are some endings that we are okay with depending on how they handle it, diba?
Right, right.
So
Mhm,
I'm
mhm,
Yeah.
okay if they end up just as friends,
mhm,
um,
mhm.
as long as it's logical, as long as it makes sense, diba?
Right.
So
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm okay either way. I'm just hoping that I was gonna go with it's not Team Boardwalk, but then again, that's just my prejudice. I mean, there might be other people out there who want the girlfriend to remain with Jim, and that's
Right, right.
okay. But my preference is really, well, Team Hubby. But if not Team Hubby, then Team Stars. Yeah, that's it. Oh,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
can
we
we
also
just
have Team
say
Outsiders now.
we have Team Outsiders? Yes, but instead of Team Outsiders, it's Team Yana All for me. Yana
Yan
All.
Yeah, Team Yana
all.
all.
That came from direct mismo, diba? Because um I
Ah,
was
okay.
I was
Yeah.
tweeting him and I was saying I said something else eh. Parang sana magkatuluyan
You said oh
si
Yana.
Olan at saka si Yana.
You said
Olana. I said Olana.
yeah.
Olan
You
Because
said
na.
Ola na na na.
it was a play on Olana and also Ohana, right? But then he came back with Yana
Yeah.
also. I'm like, hey, kaya ka direct eh. Kasi magaling ka magsulat. But
Yan
can we talk about remember dati Team Wifey, Team Stars, Team Mine,
Yes.
yung sinusulat ng Regal.
Right.
But now in
But
tonight's poster, they used Team Hubby and I'm like
yes.
so I'm happy about that. I mean, other
We
people
champion
are
break
okay with that Team
through.
Wifey,
Sure.
but I am so happy that it became Team Hubby. So thank you,
Yes.
Regal, for doing
We're
that.
here.
Thank
Legal
you.
entertainment. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So I think there were a lot of good stuff in this episode. Again, what shined for
Mhm.
me is flow.
Yes.
That table Inuman scene, it's shown for me. I mean, there were
Yes.
some things that were questionable, etc., but it really did. And I also, like I told you guys, I want to go back to the revelation because I want
True.
to. I want to enjoy that in its totality because yun nga eh, parang
Right.
because of the grainy quality, because of the premiere, I wasn't able to see the faces, so I wanna feel that in its entirety. I want the full
Right. Right.
experience. I'm
Right.
gonna watch it again.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
pero ako, Mikey, parang I
Yeah.
did share this with Lance before you got into the room, no? Parang, we were talking about the dialogue. Sabi ko, Lance, relatable yung dialogue. Sabi niya, bakit? Nasabihan ka na ba nung last line ni Jim na yun? Na parang, um, ano ay sabi niya, parang, akin ka lang, wala, hindi ka na mapupunta sa iba or something like that. And I was told that before. Na parang, and
Yes.
sabi ni Lance,
Wow.
It does
ganda, di ba?
happen.
Di ba? But
No,
it does
first love
happen.
mo
Ganun
There,
din
ka
ba?
naman talaga, Nico.
hindi
Ikaw
naman.
naman ang ayaw
Hindi
maniwala
naman.
eh.
But sometimes there are these guys that would really overpromise, and me being the pragmatic person that I am, I'd be like, hala talaga ba? Ayoko. Ganda. Hindi kasi parang, totoo pa, parang, yun nga, going back to the episode, parang the story didn't have enough premise for me. It wasn't that established. So if I were to be in Ben's shoes, I would say no. Although Team Stars ako. Pero if ako, being me, and putting myself in Ben's shoes, I would say, no, hala, bakit ganun? Saan ang galing tong emosyon mo? Hindi ko naiintindihan. So yun, parang super relatable yung line na yun ha. Like I think, hindi lang naman siguro ako, I think some of us may have heard this before in different permutations and different structures. But I
Yeah.
guess we've heard this before, right? So ang question
Yeah.
siguro parang, totoo ba talaga yung narinig natin? Totoo ba talaga ang narinig ni Ben from Olan? Yun lang, rhetorical question. Char.
Pero what did you answer in your real life when you were said
Yes.
that?
What do you respond?
Oh, so I'll give you a context. So I used to date this guy for about 5 months, and ang context was we were kind of okay. I was kind of feeling it, and I came from a really big heartbreak, and then sabi niya, "Uy, mag-aaral ako ng pagiging real estate broker," sabi niya. Magbo-boards kasi may board exam and all. And I'm like, okay, sige, that's good. And then sabi niya, "Uy, alam mo, hindi mo ba tatanungin kung bakit ko ginagawa to?" Sabi ko, bakit? Siyempre, ginagawa mo sa sarili mo yan. And I was already taking my grad studies before. Sabi niya, oh, we're self-developing. Tapos sabi niya, ginagawa ko to for our future. May mga ganong eksena, mama. Tapos, sabi ko, okay. Sabi niya, parang, uy, akin ka lang ha. Mga ganon. Ang lola mo, I was self-exploring and I was kind of establishing myself. Self-love, no? Parang sabi ko, hala, bakit ganyan? Hindi totoo yan. Sabi ko, pag-isipan mo muna. Sabi ko, baka masyado ka nagpapadalos-dalos. Sabi niya, hindi mo ako kilala. Sabi niya gano'n. Pag sinabi ko yan talagang, I really mean it. And then after noon, hindi na siya nagparamdam. Although my last communication namin was kind of like, oh sige, like, go on. Parang pumunta siya ng asan ba yun? Basta isang city in Mindanao. I can't remember kung Jensen or Davao. And then wala na. The next thing I knew, nasa Bangkok na siya, Thailand na siya and all. So may mga ganong eksena. Pero ako, medyo, I don't know, I became this very practical person after all these heartbreaks. So ako, yun yung at least experience ko yun. But I don't know, if we were to put ourselves in the reality of Olan, Ben, Jim, and everybody else in this series, baka it makes sense. I don't know, what do you think? Do you think Olan does mean it na parang, Jim would say na parang, uy, akin ka lang, di ba? Do you think it will turn out to be something good in the end?
I don't know. We'll
Pero
see.
I don't know, we'll see. But I like what the theories are going on in the chat, the unorthodox theories nila. Ayan, no?
Yeah. X and
Kasi
constants.
if you notice, kaya I was thinking of that too. Kasi if you notice, the news reports they've been flashing was for April 2020. And it's November now.
Right.
So sabi ko, there must be a relationship somewhere. Or I'm just overthinking stuff. Kaya sabi ko, this may be all in Jim's imagination when he came home, reminding him of everything that had been, if he was there, or could have been. And maybe Ben died of COVID. I don't know. Because point din si Jude, why put it in a COVID pandemic if it's not really a big play in the story? Like for Game Boys, that struggle pulled them apart. For quarantines, that pandemic put them in one house. For what were the other pandemic shows? Those are the two things I remember so far.
Well, Hello Stranger,
So,
but
yeah.
it didn't factor into that as well.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. Pero parang ganun. Parang are you just gonna use the pandemic as a setting only?
This is very interesting, sinabi ni Gus. So most of our convos are due to confusion brought by the show and episode. Confusion. Gus, can you tell us where your confusion lies ba? Like, was it the revelation or ayun, tell us more about it. And I think other people are talking about that as well. I think Sir Will also mentioned that he was confused as well. So can you tell us what specifically you were confused about? Ay, ano ba yan? Sir Will, pwede rin naman siguro, no? Pero, I think all indications were na parang Olan was flirting with Ben, etc. So yun. I think na medyo stretch yun, Sir Will. But appreciate that. um. Oh, hi, Kittredge.
Hi, kid.
But why would he do that though? I mean, Olan doesn't owe Jim anything. I mean, in fact, they sort of
Yeah.
had this sort of like animosity or hostility towards each other. So why would
Mhm.
he go out of his way to help Jim? You know? I'm confused so kung ano ang mangyari kay Yana. Ah, ayan. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't know
Yeah.
as well
Because
because they put that conversation between her and Olan towards the end. So is that the way that they want to go with it? We don't know. So
we don't
yeah, that
know.
was also a question.
Pero I
Uh,
pity Yana kasi parang she seems like a good girl. Or parang someone would burst her bubble when she finds out that her boyfriend, her love of her life, is seeing another
mm,
guy and it happens to be the best friend.
mm,
Ouch. Ouch.
mm,
Sounds so
mm.
familiar.
Yeah. So I think I think about two events, 2012 and 2015. Does that refer to something previously? But I think Gus is mentioning na they have two
Mm,
episodes to tie up loose ends, and he also mentioned
yeah.
that I think Jim means it naman. So di lang na-establish. Yon. So na-confuse siya
Yeah.
because of the revelation, I think. Di lang
Yeah, I think he
masyado
was confused.
na-establish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was talking about that before in the previous his reactions then regarding previous episodes.
Mm-hmm. I think yun nga, parang it went a little bit fast. But
Pero
I think
yeah,
it might be possible that there will be flashbacks, especially relating to 2015. I think that may figure
Right,
more into
right.
Jim than we know at the moment. We'll see about that.
yeah. Pero kayo
So just
ba?
in
Would
case there
susugal ba
are any
kayo?
revelations. Hmm?
If given that setting, susugal ba kayo? If you're given that setting, you're Ben or Jim. No, you're Ben,
Ako si Ben, and
and
then I
you're
heard Jim say that
uh
to me.
yeah. Given
Okay.
the same
Ako hindi.
situation that Jim is well,
Well,
has a
yeah.
girlfriend and you have Olan on the other side.
Ako
Mm,
Mikey, you said yes, no?
yeah. Um,
Grabe kayo.
I said yes. If I'm Ben, yes.
Okay, okay.
Bakit?
But if you were Mikey, yon.
You wouldn't?
Well, if you're
If you're
Mikey,
Mikey,
But crush ka na ng crush mo. If I were Mikey,
kahit
oh
may girlfriend
no.
siya.
No. I already have someone.
okay,
I love.
right, right.
Aw.
Wait, you're
Pero
saying Mikey single or Mikey not single?
Mikey single, Mikey single.
Mikey not single,
Mikey
no.
single.
Mikey single, yes. Yes.
Gusto ko
Yes.
yan, mga risk takers. Gusto ko yan.
Mahal ko siya eh. Mahal ko siya, di ba? Sinabi ko na nga
Yeah.
eh, na parang mahal ko siya, first love ko siya, at mahal ko pa rin siya, at umaasa pa rin ako. So, eto na eh, sinabihan niya na gusto niya ako, mahal niya ako. Oh, arte pa ba? Right.
Oh, ito po ba?
Yun.
Ako siguro I would say
Sa'yo?
no. I would say no, really.
Why?
I don't know. Based on experience, I guess, right? We have different sets of
Mhm.
experiences and made us the person that
Mm-hmm.
we are today. So I would say,
Mhm.
did I say yes? I said no. I would say no.
I said
So I
no.
would say no. I would say no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Lance.
I'd say no
Because
to. I'd say no to on both counts.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I couldn't bear my conscience couldn't bear to take away that love from
Mm.
Yana kumbaga. Parang if you really love me, break up with her.
True.
Prove it to me, break up with her.
Here. Here.
Unless I'm
Yeah,
polyamorous, which
absolutely.
I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not polyamorous. So
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it goes
Kasi
without
there,
saying
there
na
are
parang,
people who are that naman. So who could handle
yeah,
two relationships, but I don't think I can. So and I'm not
Yeah.
really into that because I know I could get jealous
yeah,
and I could be self-pitying myself regarding that. So
true.
never mind.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that has to be resolved in the next episode, diba? And you mentioned it
Yeah.
last kanina rin eh. Na parang, what happens to Yana? Does Jim tell her? Or is she gonna be okay with it? Not okay with it? Does she throw a fit? Does she tell the family? Does she tell the dad? Does the dad come over? Does he beat up Jim? Those types of things. So yeah, there are a lot of questions that are not yet answered. Probably because they haven't they haven't come up yet. So yun. Um, what else? There is that question about yun nga, I think somebody mentioned it as well about the parents leaving, the
Mhm.
possible
Yeah.
parang secret about the death of the mom, yung mga ganon. So may mga theories din, di ba? Parang she didn't really die
Okay.
of cancer. And something
Mm-hmm.
happened, right? So yeah, there are a lot of things that are still maybe up in the air. So hopefully they'll be able to tie them up neatly, or at least address them
Hopefully.
in the next episodes, right? So yun.
Gusto ko tong point ni Gus. So, I don't like flashbacks because used as a way to justify the actions or tie loose ends. Like, hell, okay.
Although if you go with Game Boys,
Ah.
there are flashbacks or there are sort of like
Yeah.
montages that can be very effective as well. I guess it depends lang
Mhm.
on how. And if we're
It's
talking
told.
about flashbacks also being overused, I agree.
Mm.
And there it can be sort of like in between sometimes. Ang dami
I know, in
nag-complain na
between.
ang dami-dami raw
Hi.
ng
I
flashback.
know.
I in between.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
think
saying
that
what other
I in
people
between. Hi,
said.
Chell.
I have I have no problems with your flashbacks. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that in terms of flashbacks, they were well used, I would say, in Game Boys, right? So yun.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then kasi sa akin, the series that had well-used flashbacks were Lost and Once Upon a Time. It was seeing those the American series wherein
Yeah,
they
yeah.
Mhm.
tell the stories of their past characters through the
Mm.
flashbacks, which is intertwined with their present day life. It's like
Mm-mm.
would that past character go through the same experience as did before, or would he or she bend it in
Yeah.
this future episode? Parang ganun.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
What I like about flashbacks are if they provide you like a completely different perspective on the person. So it's not necessarily about more bad things that they did. What's more like taking us on a journey on how to better understand that character. Because I think that's mainly what flashbacks are supposed to be for. They're supposed to give you like a wider perspective on this person or on this event. So hopefully, if they use flashbacks, then hopefully they're used well. But if it's just going to be, let's say, part of the dialogue, let's say ikukwento ni Jim or ikukwento ni Ben or whatnot, that's also absolutely fine. It all depends on how it's written, di ba? Yun ang
But
daming
or would you prefer
questions.
a flashback or a spoken dialogue instead when they do that?
Spoken dialogue.
Because I've seen both implemented well in Game Boys. You know, I mean, I guess it all depends on which is more effective for that particular. I don't know. It depends on the writer.
I
I would guess.
Yeah.
I mean, you would
I
know if it's effective. If, for example, it gave you that what you were looking for, right? So I guess we'll know
Yep.
when we see it. I mean, I can't really
depends.
say
Mhm.
which one is better at this point. Yeah.
Right, right. Although
Yes,
ako
Nico.
naman, parang for flashbacks naman, parang I feel like there's an element of surprise there eh. Parang, 'di ba? Anong meron before? I want to find out. Siguro doon ako na excited. The kid in me would be excited for flashbacks because of that. But again, tama si Mikey, it depends on the execution eh. Because there are flashbacks na hindi magandang pagkakagawa, right? There are also flashbacks na ang ganda na pagkakagawa. Maiisip mo na parang
Yeah.
twist na siya eh, 'di ba? Twists and turns, yun na yung nagagawa ng isang flashback.
Correct.
But I guess I have to
I mean,
agree with. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
So yeah, parang I think we have a lot of questions, and I'm hoping, sabi ni LM, no, parang yeah, we have the same sentiments. We'll see sa next episode if I mean they can justify everything. Baka naman maging 1 hour next episode. We'll never know, diba? Sabi nga ni Jack Estrada, I really hope the next 2 episodes will tie the loose ends, or at least help us make sense of what happened in today's episode. I feel like it wasn't
Yeah.
established enough on why Jin suddenly confessed. Yes.
Yeah, and I think in some ways we have been surprised by Direct, Easy for Air. And I think Lance also shared this, diba? Na parang you had a completely different perspective when you heard Direct in this live that we watched with Psycho
Yeah.
Milk, right? So who knows? He
Yeah.
might surprise us all. I mean,
I know.
know.
We
We
never
never know
know.
until the last episode.
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll see. Kasi ako
We'll see.
naman,
Oh yeah, but
just to let you guys know,
yeah.
I'm a very optimistic person, and Nico can attest to this. I
Yeah.
tend to be optimistic about things. So, I mean, I'm looking at it from that perspective. And I also appreciate that there are other perspectives, like from you guys and from Nico and from Lance. And I think this is why we do this, and this is why we are glad that there are people sharing, because we want to see other perspectives too. And of course, that allows us to sort of like evaluate where we're coming from, to see if,
True.
oh, okay, what if I add this kind of lens to it or this color into it. So thank you so much for sharing. So keep doing that. But
Yes, of
yeah,
course.
the thing that
Yeah.
Aling Alma knows, right? What is that?
Yes.
Or is there something in the first place? Baka naman nag-overthink na naman tayo. Di ba? It can happen.
Yeah, I was
Oo,
waiting
di
for
ba?
Aling Elma. Baka may bago na naman sa chika. Kasi the last time she said about
Lalo na pag
about
lasing,
Yana.
maraming revelation na nagaganap, di ba? Baka may share
Yeah.
siya sana.
Yes, yes.
Uh, okay, so Kale also thinks Yana is that dense.
I could hear you, Kale, speak. I could hear your voice saying that right in my head.
I can hear Kale saying it. Like, I talked to him enough to know how it sounds when he says those things.
Yeah.
So yeah. So absolutely, and there are people who agree with you. Like parang hala, girl, hindi mo ba nakikita? Parang bulag-bulagan tayo. Parang maang-maangan school of bulag.
Yes. Gusto ko yun.
Yes. Diba? Parang, yeah, absolutely, right? But
Yeah.
there are people who may exist that are like that.
Yes.
you know? Yeah.
Oh yeah. By the way, do you know
So
what?
I guess
If
that's
you've
it.
seen
No,
their shirts, pala,
Mhm.
tidbit lang. If you've seen their shirts, that's how the constellation Velas looks like.
which
Ah,
is
I
the favorite
like
constellation
that.
of
Yeah,
Ben, which
it is
Jim
a good
knows
touch.
for a fact, and which Jim believes he can achieve, because Bella is our sales, right? So he believes that Ben can
Yeah.
sail and go wherever he wants to be, you know? And the way that he looked at Ben when he said that, dude, come on. Jerome,
True.
look into my eyes. Sure.
Oy, ito, before we end our session, kasi we have another session
Yeah.
at around 10 p.m. For our fundraiser cause.
Mhm.
And with that, we'll be talking about GSP as our preview before the finale next week. No? Sabi ni Gus, no? Asan na ba yun? Wait lang. Ayan. Kailangan natin si Aling Elma. Yes! For the next episode para malaman
Yes.
natin yung kwento.
Kausapin natin
Diba?
si Direk. Kausapin natin si Direk. Direk,
Direk, pwede ba
asan
naman
si Aling
interview si Aling Elma, please?
Oh.
ano yung masasabi niya
Kasama
tungkol
si
sa
Aling Elma.
June 5, 2015? Pakisagot, Direk.
Yes. Direk, easy naman, please.
But before we end our session tonight, we'd like to celebrate, of course, our 237 friends and subscribers on
Wow.
YouTube. Yeah. So
Oh my God, wow. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Wow.
thank you so much for joining us. Okay.
Oh my God.
We hope to hear
Oh my God.
from you in the future. And aside from that, we are adding a different
I think a
sort
couple
of
weeks ago we
feature
were
in
just at 180.
exactly. So 237 na tayo. Friends and subscribers. So we're calling you friends, hindi lang subscribers, because a part of one of the segments, one of the features that we have here in Bruha is we'll be inviting people over. So we've had collaborations with Kale, for example. Sino ba yung na-invite natin? Si Kupono. We are open to like meeting different people
Nice.
altogether. I think ang kasha naman sa isang room is around 10. So we are looking forward to
Yeah.
collaborating, having conversations with all of you, of course, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much,
So soon,
friends.
maybe. Yeah, soon yung mga classmates ko dyan in the chat, maybe you could jump in someday, sana. Like LM, who else?
Oh yeah, yung mga classmates, right? Oh, thank you, Kitrich. Yeah,
Thanks,
right.
Kitrich.
I think I also want to highlight something that someone said.
Mhm.
I think this is a foreigner. Oh my God, I lost the comment. Kasi ang dami bigla.
Where?
Um,
Oh
I think
my.
it was Jack Estrada, 923. Jack Estrada. He
23.
said, I like though that we are
Look it up.
take 1023. Right. So Jack Estrada said, I like though that we are talking about this episode and Benix Gym in general. I see a bright future for Pinoy BL. It's time that so he's Pinoy. It's time our stories are heard and shared. Yeah. It's not just
Yes.
Benix Gym though. I mean, there are a lot of stories and there are more coming out every month, every week, Carlos. I
I
mean, there's gonna be
know.
influencers, there's gonna be Cheat the series.
True,
Oh my
true,
god, what else?
true.
We have Your Home
I think
too from Arcana
we're
Studio.
down to Why Love Why. Yeah,
Who
Why
else?
Love
Why?
Why, and also Your
Yes.
Home. So there's a lot of builders that are coming out. So yeah, let's go ahead and support, watch them, and we can always talk about them, even though we
Mhm.
don't like them or agree with them. There's always something to discuss,
Yes, yes.
right? Because there's always
Yes.
something that we can
Yeah.
learn from the series. So thank you, thank you, thank you very much for that, guys. Thank you for always sharing, for being here as well, for keeping us company, for sharing your time. Because obviously, I mean, you could spend it somewhere else, but you are here and you're spending time with us. So we really, really do appreciate that. And of course, keep those comments coming, keep those thoughts coming, because I mean, that's one of the reasons why we are doing Bruhaha, is because we support not just BLs, but we also support the cause. We support we support equality, we support love wins, we support Soji. So
Yeah.
later on tonight, we're also going to be doing something new because we've never done this before. We are going to do a mini fundraiser for our Katando Honest folks. So we're gonna have people from the ground jump in on a live with us, and we are going to be talking about what's going on there, what they need, and hopefully people will go ahead and donate to that. So
Yep.
if you're available and if you want to support, go ahead and be there. I mean, every little bit counts. Kahit nandun lang kayo to provide moral support, we would really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
guys.
And for those who don't know where Catanduanes is an island located in Bicol in the
Mhm.
Philippines. They got hit by the
Bicol.
typhoons. It's two consecutive. I mean, the Rolla hit them, then Ulysses. So it's like I think one of the stories told there was one of the seafarers just fixed his house after the typhoon Rolly. Then suddenly Ulysses came and wiped it out again.
Ito na
So we
naman,
have those
right?
stories from
Whoa.
Catanduanes.
Okay.
Right. And one of the reasons why we want to support Suganda Honest is it's a bit far, diba? I mean, it's not in the
Yes, it
metro, it's
is.
not in the national capital region. So I think that it's good that we are supporting people who may not baka hindi easily or mabilis na umabot sa kanila yung ayuda. So that's why we're picking
Yes.
Catanduanes. The Bicol region is one of those that are really hard hit. And Bicol is actually my home province. So
Mhm.
I want to support my peeps as well. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that's
Mikey,
it. Hope to see you
ngayon ko
there.
lang nalaman na Catanduanes is in Bicol talaga, seryoso. Sorry for my ignorance. Pero kaya pala,
That's okay.
nag-Bicol ka
That's
dun
okay.
sa tweet natin. Sabi ko, Bicol.
Correct.
Yes!
Yes.
Kinausap ko sila. And later on, we'll see if we can, practice my Bicol again. It's been a
Let's
while
see.
Yes, yes, yes,
because
yes.
we're based here in Manila. But yeah. If you guys are available, hopefully we see you there, and hopefully you support, even in just a moral aspect. Yeah. Okay. Would you like to close us out, Lance?
Yeah, don't forget
Let's
to follow
go.
and subscribe with in Brew Hobby Squad. Follow our socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Or you can follow us on our personal socials, which is not shown down. So just look it up when you click on Brew Hobby Squad. And thank you very much for joining us. Hope to see you later for the Catanduanes Help. And I'm Lance. Above is Mikey. Below is Nico. Good night, folks.
See you
Good night, everyone.
later.
Take care. Stay safe.